It may be beautiful right now outside, but like Jacqueline said, and the National Weather Service agrees, it has issued an advisory for anyone headed to the coast this weekend. KRON 4's Charles Clifford is live for us tonight along San Francisco's Ocean Beach. He has details on all of this. Charles.
Yeah, right now I'm standing along kind of the southern end of Ocean Beach, not too far from the San Francisco Zoo, and it's beautiful out right now. There's lots of people down at the beach, but as you just said, the National Weather Service has issued an advisory that there's actually a westerly swell moving through the ocean, and it has reached the Bay Area, and the danger here is that it could bring along some very large waves that could pose a danger to beachgoers. Now, this advisory runs from 10 a.m. Friday morning through Saturday evening, and the biggest danger is that there could be sleeper waves, and these are large waves that come ashore with little or no warning that could sweep people out to sea. Now, they're advising that anyone headed to the beach this weekend, they say, don't turn your back on the ocean. Also, young children should be supervised so that they're not playing by the water by themselves. And also, they suggest that fishermen avoid rocks and jetties because these waves can come ashore and wash fishermen, or anyone really, out to sea. Now, this advisory applies to coastal beaches here in San Francisco and also along the peninsula, and also beaches along Point Reyes and then the North Bay coast. And again, this advisory runs until Saturday evening. In San Francisco, Charles Clifford, KRON 4 News.
The Bay Area's news station. KRON 4 News at 5 starts now.
Developing tonight on this Friday at 5 o'clock, fears that a San Francisco neighborhood could collapse. Right now, multiple sinkholes are creating a very dangerous situation in the aftermath of a major water main break and flood. I'm Pam Moore. KRON 4's Justine Waldman is live in the city's West Portal district with the latest details. Justine.
Pam, from talking to homeowners today, I understand there are at least a dozen sinkholes, not only in people's backyards, but also in their garages and underneath their homes where they can't even fully see how big they are just yet. And if you haven't seen it yet and don't understand just how high the water got in this neighborhood, take a look at this garage. That's at least 2 feet of water that flooded this neighborhood, leaving that scarring, muddy mark on the home. Homeowners spent today collecting and throwing out as much of their stuff as they possibly could because a lot of these places will need to be demolished. Garbage bags of ruined belongings now need to be thrown out, a total loss. There is a dumpster full of trash, stuff that used to be people's possessions. Memories like photographs and diplomas try to dry out in the sun, soaked from the flood. The damage is just beginning to show.
Initially, it was the water damage, and then as you go to close the door, you notice the door doesn't close, and then, you know, as the days progress, we're seeing more and more cracks, you know. So
it's gotten worse.
It's definitely gotten worse.
Other homes have sinkholes in the garage and cracks in the foundation. It is no longer safe to live here, and Harvey understands his home needs to be knocked down.
Frankly, the house is going to be demolished anyway because it's structurally so unstable that they can't fix it, they can't shore it up. The engineers have already said that it can't be rebuilt.
So you're looking live here back in the neighborhood as homeowners are still, using disaster companies to clean up their houses and take as much of their stuff as they can, not sure what they'll be able to save or what they'll have to throw out. And the concern with those sinkholes is that there are so many, not only on this side of the street, but also across the street. And since we can't see underneath the street, they're not sure if they're all going to connect. And that's what could cause the collapse. Live in San Francisco, I'm Justine Waldman, KRON 4 News.
Now we want to take a closer look at the progress that has been made. We have some side-by-side pictures here of what things look like early Tuesday when this all started, and then today you can see the cleanup in progress. This is looking south on 15th Street. Same vantage point. You can see the hill right here, same hill right there, and the mounds of dirt, way different than all water on the street right here. Take a closer look on what it looked like Tuesday. Water just furiously pouring into this West Portal neighborhood. It's pooling down there at the intersection. That's 15th and Wawana. Water is rushing into this driveway. Look, that wheel almost entirely underwater. And this car right here, geez, only the windows are visible, and the cars north of that on this street here, not in much better shape as water is just pooling there. This is the same shot that we showed you, the side by side, and then again, this is what things look like today. You can see the mounds of dirt as crews are working to try to stabilize the ground, making sure that people are safe in their homes. This is certainly a developing story that we will continue to follow. Pat.
This is the Sanjurajima volcano eruption on February 27th. Wow. And there's lightning and there's strangeness and there was like a seemed like there was like a little white ball. Oh, also, you can see a UFO going by too. Bottom right hand corner. I'm gonna replay this, so I'm gonna pause it. So don't mind me. I'm gonna pause this. When that, look at that lightning. Static electricity, lightning, weirdness, like, here we go. I'll show you what I was talking about. Okay, they lost the camera. There. Look at the screen at 12, the upper left hand box. There's like a white orb that comes into the picture and then goes out of the picture. It's in the upper left square. At about 3 o'clock from the volcano. Look at 3 o'clock. Look at that. Here, I'll circle it. What's that right here? Comes in, it goes out. Then there's another one. Okay, let's keep going. So there's a heads up with a strange eruption, and there's a UFO that flies by. Let's see if I can catch it in time, if it'll stop. When the pilot goes flying by. Let's see. Okay, you lost that signal. Let's see. Where is he? Hang in there. I'll show it to you. I'm sure other UFOs are gonna see it. Here we go. I think it's gonna be in the upper. There he is. Okay, let's stop. What is this right here? Look in here. See right there. Okay, let's see. Not sure how that circles, because all I see is my arrow, but it's right in here. I'm pointing at it, but the pointer doesn't look the same. Alright, then we're gonna keep going. Now watch it on the upper left hand side again. Watch. First you see the orb, now you see this thing coming by. Is it going? It's not going. Oh, it froze up. Let's see. There it goes. There it goes. There it goes. Here, we'll stop it again. There he is again. Who's this guy right here? Right there. Aha. There he goes. Now he's leaving. There he goes.
In a long time. Look at this. Are you serious? Are you serious? What? 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 I mean, that is let me just read this to you. These rays just why did dozens, it's really actually over 200 of these rays, these big sea creatures, wash up on the beach in the Gaza Strip? Now, it's the first time these fish have even been seen in the Gaza Strip area in 6 years. They've not even been around there. All of a sudden, over 200 of them come washing ashore just before Barack Obama, our president, is going to go visit Jerusalem and talk about a peace agreement. Remember what I told you? Whatever's going on in the spiritual world, many times you'll see manifestations in the physical. This is not a good sign.
Is down below the ridge. He has noticed that we have Area 51 security watching us right now.
Someone's approaching him.
Hey, I have Area 51 security approaching me now.
What is that? Looks like we got some taxiway lights coming on. It looks like everything is lighting up for something either to take off or to come in.
I have what appears to be an SUV approaching. Did you see that in the sky just now?
What was that?
All the lights are... they just shut off.
All of a sudden, the runway lights, everything lit up, like they were waiting for something to land.
Just when that happened, I looked up into the sky and saw this. Wow. What is that?
No, we didn't.
Wow. I don't know. It's on the Sci-Fi channel. And this is from UFO Sightings channel. I just had to show you that. That's from Area 51. I think they finally got some good footage of something coming in from some kind of reality show. Alrighty then. Had to show you that one. That's from February 27th, 2013. Area 51. New NASA UFO anti-gravity craft? I don't know. That's up to you to figure out. Here's another one. This one is by Juan Jose Garza de Leon. All separate words. And that's his channel. And this is also on February 27, 2013. Seems like there's been a mass amount of sightings and postings on February 27, 2013. Alright, UFO appears during the filming of a movie. Here we go. Check this out. Now he's going to analyze it. Wow, okay, he's going to analyze it again. There it is. Wow. See, they're not showing what movie that is. Alrighty then. Excellent job, Juan Jose Garza de Leon. Looks like there's another name though up in the upper corner. He got that from... can't read it. Alrighty. Live, this is One for the Record. I'm Diana, and today is March 3rd, 2013, and this is round 2. because I guess we got cut off somehow, so we're starting over. Give me a second here. There we go, stand by. I already gave some reports. But it got disconnected. I am attaching Dr. Bill DEAGLE. And also, if for some reason it says it's uploading, just check back again in a few minutes. And then, because sometimes it takes it time to upload from the editor. Got a big show tonight. And if we can get moving on, that would be good. Because I already went more than halfway through the report, and then all of a sudden the whole browser closed. Now, what's going on here? We have a wacky time going on right now. Ooh, it's very cold. It's very cold for being in Florida. Okay, well, you'll know I read this already. Here we go. Alright, the Extinction Protocol 2012 and beyond. Increased activity reported at volcanoes in Ecuador and Guatemala. Oh, it's changed now. Swarms of locusts descend on Cairo. And the last time that happened, according to Pastor Paul Bagley, that happened back when Moses was taking the Jews out of Egypt. So, heads up on that. Swarms of locusts descend on Cairo. Brightest comet Pan-STARRS seen in skies over Australia. Yeah, it's passing on March 4th. It's probably passing very soon now. This is all changed from what I did on the last report. Agitated Earth. Hundreds of homes flattened by earthquake in China. Mountainside collapses in the Philippines, killing 5. And in China, there was 20 injured and 700 homes flattened so far. Alrighty. Let's move on. See if I can get to the watchers again. See, these are all being updated. This is not what I read a few seconds ago. So this is good. You're getting even more updates. Alright, here we go. A newly found asteroid, 2013 EC, will pass inside the orbit of the Moon on March 4th, 2013. SDO's 2013 solar spring eclipse season has begun. Tongahara, Ecuador, increased in seismic activities reported. Dangerous magnitude 5.5 earthquake struck Yunnan province, China. Alrighty then. I caught a UFO too, and I'm attaching that by one of the Japanese volcanoes that went off. Okay, here we go. Moving on. E&E News, the energy news. Fukushima, Japan. Let's get into that. So it's going to be a big news show. So if I can get it uploaded, just hang in there, and then I'll just keep changing what's in the description box and all the info, and I'll make it public. But it takes a while to upload, and Dr. DEAGLE's on there, as they said. Shocked. Major Japan paper. Cancer risk in Fukushima probably infinitesimal. Infinitesimal. More radioactive contamination should be allowed in food and where people live. Don't question burning disaster debris. Heads up on that. Crimes against humanity. Video. Years later, deaths occur frequently in city 85 kilometers from Fukushima plant. Area is contaminated and residents don't know it. Also today, Fukushima film premiere. Tears from local official. Not allowing the children to escape is murder. Remember that. That's what they say. Not allowing the children to escape is murder. Okay, crimes against humanity. Get ready to go to court and to jail and whatever else that goes with it. Kyoto. High concentration of Fukushima radioactive substances found in land animals. Frog with 6,700 becquerels outside evacuation zone. Alright, don't eat frog's legs. I guess all the food's going to be bad. You better check everything with Geiger counters. That's all I got to say. Everywhere. Everywhere in the whole world. Start checking the food. Alright. March 3rd. Okay, U.S. Canada. CBS News. Mind-boggling mistakes at leaking U.S. nuclear site. The chances of a catastrophic event are real, former governor states that. AP. Some leaders in U.S. soaring on nuclear power costs. Tea Party conservatives, Tea Party conservatives, Republicans fed up with soaring budgets. Also today, 67 tanks are suspected leakers at U.S. nuclear site. The stuff inside melts the instruments, eats rubber and plastic. Heads up! Officials discuss danger of deflagration at leaking U.S. nuclear site. In our common words, a boom. Okay, yes, a couple days ago, new flyover, giant sinkhole, dirt around area complete? Dirt road around area complete? I don't know. Alright. And also, according to Pastor Paul Bagley, there was breaking news that they had 2 meters of snow in Japan. And some people are dying over there from that. They're trying to dig people out. I believe he said 6 people so far, but who knows what's going on over there. Alright, you know what I mean? Alrighty then. It's 2 days down. The weekend's just about over. Get ready for Monday. Pack your lunches. Hope you did well on your garage sales, those who had one. Alrighty then. Take care, and I'll see you again on the flip side, Monday. We'll start the countdown all over again. And please, stay tuned. I'm attaching new UFO footage and all kinds of stuff. And Dr. Bill DEAGLE. Okay, take care, be safe, and be prepared for anything.
They can get away with is signing on board to go ahead and be part of a United Nations treaty. So I think we all need to be aware of that, along with, of course, the economy. Everybody I know who's paying attention is very concerned with what's going on with our economy. Every prognosticator, both professional and non-professional, are very concerned with the state of our economy and the dollar itself being at risk.
Let me give a 3-step plan to fix the economy. Number 1, you don't have to have a constitutional convention. You have a convention of the state governors. And in fact, we can start off with is just the Republican governors, which are by far the large majority of the governors. What they do is they make a recommendation among the states that they want to take over from the Federal Reserve the banking authority and put it totally under the control of the state-controlled authority. Not the federal government, the states. Then they set up state banks in every state. They nullify the debt at the same time they set up Glass-Steagall to put a firewall between the speculative banking and the too big to fail banks. And they do that parallel with countervailing tariffs against products coming into the country and illegal traffic coming in, like the trade of containers coming in from China and through Mexico, through via Cardenas and the superports. And then instantly, all of the transnational, many of the U.S.-based corporations that have moved business to Indonesia and China and elsewhere would say, oh my gosh, there's no business or bean count or reason to build this in India or China because of countervailing tariffs, etc. And our energy policy needs to immediately become energy independence, not in 5 or 10 years, but in 2. 2 years is all we need to get energy independent. Finish the XL pipeline, authorize the building of new refineries across America. They haven't had a new refinery since 1975. That's obscene.
It is obscene.
Secondly, we need to also stop stupid hydrofracking where it's not necessary, and authorize that it has to be a standardization of hydrofracking technology. In fact, I got a magazine here when I want to get Ann on later because she's quite on the hydrofracking as well. There are safe technologies for extracting oil and gas from the ground and gasified coal, but there's unsafe and stupid ones. And putting chemicals down in hydrofracking areas where you're going to pull a water table away from the roots of trees and destroy cropland, etc., is the stupidest damn thing I ever heard.
Well, I agree,
Okay.
and there has to be a safe way to do the hydrofracking while causing no harm, and obviously they need to be.
Well, I can tell them what to. I can tell them what they need to do because I'm a chemist as well. And the first thing they need to do is they should never frack where it's near the water table. The report I have from National Geographic, I have right in front of me, says America strikes oil, and they're saying it's down at least 7 Empire State Buildings, 1,454 feet down, and they say put steel jackets. But right here they have a number of concerns. They talk about air quality, leaking ponds, faulty wells, and spills. Well, guess what? The worst of those that they don't mention is the use of chemicals. You can use microwave technology. You can use what's called infrasound technology to break up oil into the right microdroplets. You can use high-pressure super steam, which is not regular steam. This is super steam. And you can infuse into that super steam things like helium and other gases. That's why, for example, most people don't realize the major source of helium, which is why Europe didn't have helium, America did, is from the wells in Texas. Helium is naturally a cofactor with deep well drilling. And if you put helium down there and these other gases, argon, you actually break up and make it easier for the internal viscosity to get that oil out of the ground without using chemicals. You can't use chemicals near farmland. You can't have, settling pools and air quality. The places in Walsenburg, Colorado, they actually had so much gas coming out of the ground, you could turn on your tap and then light it. So your tap water would actually come out and have a flame. That is beyond stupid. And we need to be energy independent, but we need to not be stupid. That's what we call stupid on steroids.
Absolutely, Dr. Bill. Well, the world remains a dangerous place, and we need to remind people that they need to get prepared now so they don't have to live a life of fear and anguish. They can live a life where they have hope and a life of joy, which is how we all should be living. You and I both get these calls and emails looking for dates and timetables. If you're prepared, you don't need to worry about a date or a timetable.
Yeah, we're 1 day closer, 1 week closer since last week. What I tell people is, I call it the 2 rule. Be ready for 2 weeks food, water, and shelter. Be ready to hunker down up to 2 months. After 2 months, you need to be ready to move your butt to a community far enough away, at least 1 gas takeaway from any large city. At the end of 6 months, 90% of the population of the Western world will be dead through violence, starvation, disease, or cannibalism.
Absolutely.
That's the reality. That's why people don't understand this. They think I'm exaggerating. I worked in trauma. I worked with the government on Operation Top Off and FEMA, etc. I know firsthand, with their own operational plans and war game plans, exactly. And these are not, these are sober people. They're not crazies. You have to understand, the government aren't all bad people. They're people that are what I call sober. Just like the generals are sober, they don't plan to go into a war unless they really want to put their assets and people in danger. And
can do what a World War II fighter could do. They're aircraft, and they drop munitions. The only thing is, the brain operating a World War II fighter is in the cockpit, where the brain operating the drone might be in Nebraska or someplace. But otherwise, there's no difference. These are aircraft that kill people.
Yeah, in fact, one of the big drone centers is up in Reno, Nevada. There's another one in Phoenix, Arizona. And they're getting all kinds of, I call drone stars. They get special stars for being really good Top Guns with their drone. These weapon systems, by the way, are mind-boggling. People don't understand just how advanced they are. They can lock onto you within a meter, hit you with a Hellfire missile 75 miles away from GPS coordinates. You can't even hear the drone. It's over the horizon. And you can be sitting in your T-80 Russian tank and eating your borscht and having some Russian sausage, and you have no idea that 4 seconds later an appointment was arranged for you to see.
Well, Dr. Bill, I'm going to hand off here to you and Ann, and I'm going to get going here.
Thanks a lot, John. Any new major reports, drop in anytime. We'll do an emergency report. And again, listen to the Liberty Man. Go to libertyman.com, get all the connections, and major announcements coming up in the next week or so. Ann will be back in a second to hear your latest reports on a number of important space weather and other issues. And joining us also, Alexander Bachman. Back in a moment. And I'm going to do a series of articles I'm going to post up and research on hydrofracking. I'm amazed that they got away with this crap. And, of course, one thing, and believe it or not, by default, one of the few good things that Obama did is he wouldn't allow hydrofracking on federal lands. What really needs to happen is you need to have a across-the-board regulation to make sure hydrofracking doesn't affect water tables, that procedures are much tighter, just like double-hulled ships. Years ago, I talked to one of my friends who's an oil engineer. Double-hulled ships should have been made standard so the Exxon Valdez didn't happen off of Alaska. And once we improve procedures, everything's a go. Use microwave technology, use these gases like helium and argon, use technologies such as harmonic subsonic sound to break up oil droplets. Do not use, ever, chemicals. Make sure you don't end up with bubbling up gas coming out of the ground so you've got air quality problems, leaking pipes, faulty wells, or spills, or settling ponds where you've got all kinds of craziness happening. We don't want to destroy the biology in the place, and I think it won't take a generation. And these areas of the Midwest, of the literally grain belt of the United States, will be absolutely, totally fracked, if you want to call it. Very good term for it. They'll be fracked to pieces.
Well, I agree with you.
What do you think?
I think that we need to take a good, strong look at that. I've been looking at it from a viewpoint of the water use. They use a tremendous amount of groundwater, and that groundwater is what feeds our public water supplies. And when they pull it down to the aquifer, they introduce chemical hazards into that because they have drilling mud and stuff. And so they're contaminating the water that we use, the drinking water, and the supply of drinking water is going down. And that was one of the reasons that the drought was so significant last year, was because we had no groundwater. You know, the groundwater was 5.
Well, they're also not recharging the Ogallala Reserve. We know how many years are left, so that's why when we talked about with the Lewis Foundation recharging the Ogallala Reserve with water from the Columbia River Basin. But we also have to be sure that the Snake River and the Columbia River Basin goes through some of the most radioactive soils and runoff areas in the world from Hanford reactor. And Columbia right now is dumping into the Pacific Ocean. It's not just Fukushima that's screwing out the Pacific. It's the Hanford reactor sites on the Columbia River. So no one is talking. You know, I raise questions because I know about these things from the inside track, but nobody's talking about the fact that we've got to make certain that we preserve our water and we re-engineer the water so we recharge these aquifers so we don't run out of water. And when they're running it even faster using hydrofracking, this is beyond stupid. This is stupid on steroids. As you know, Forrest Gump says, stupid is as stupid does.
Well, I think it's greed on the part of the oil companies.
Yeah, but it's beyond even greed. This is evil. I mean, greed is one thing, you know. Use procedures that'll make you money, but, you know, not screw up the environment. Eventually you get pissed off local constituents and say, hey, I can't turn on my tap because I can get a fire or an explosion in the house from gas. It's one thing to have a gas explosion in your house. It's another to turn on the tap and someone decides to light up and have a cigarette and then they have an explosion in the kitchen. Bad idea. Bad idea.
And we've seen lots of instances of that where fracking has gone on, where people can light the water that's coming out of their faucets. They have it up on YouTube, and they even have it in the mainstream.
Yeah, in Walsenburg, Colorado. And I've been through Walsenburg before, and I know the area. It's like, you got to be kidding.
Too many oil companies up there? What do you mean you got to be kidding?
Well, no, they're kidding that they would actually do this. They're not using proper techniques. The people got so ticked off, they actually shut it all down because the local politicians said, oh my God, all the constituents are up in arms because the gas is coming up through everywhere. You can smell this sulfury smell everywhere. Everybody's house had gas coming through their water pipes. Everybody. It was just insane. Walsenburg, Colorado.
Well, it's happening elsewhere. Yeah, it's happening elsewhere in the country now where they're doing fracking, hydrofracking. And
yeah, it's not just that. I mean, they can do coal gasification. There's one coal seam in a national park that you don't even have to go near. You can actually run a lateral line to that area and coal gasify and create gasified coal. There's all kinds of natural gas off Alaska and elsewhere. There's areas where you could hydrofrack if you're using microwave and these gas technologies, which are easy to implement. There should never be using chemicals, and they should use all kinds of double backup systems so you never have to worry about a pipe breaking or a well leaking or gas coming up through the ground for centuries or forever. This is just ridiculous.
Yeah, the groundwater got so low here last summer that the trees stopped transpiring, and that meant that the roots didn't reach the water table. And when that happens, the trees die. They don't put water back in the air, so when the cold fronts would come through, we wouldn't get any rain because there was not enough rain. It was like a desert.
So the powers that be not only want to impoverish us and destroy our dollar by spending money like a drunken sailor and borrow from the Chinese and setting up 257 trade zones that have eminent domain on American soil, they want to make it look devastation like a B movie post-Armageddon.
Well, then,
it's ridiculous.
You look at Arizona, and that's what's going to happen across the entire Midwest. Arizona now has...
The Arizonization of America.
Yeah, there you go. That's exactly right. The desertification of America.
Yeah, it's stupid. It's stupid, and it doesn't need to be at all. We need to be recharging, and we need to actually be a positive influence in the ecosystems of the planet. We need to preserve species. We need to preserve ecosystems. We need to make sure there's enough water distributed. We need to make sure that water's not radioactive. We need to seal off Hanford reactor so it doesn't get in the Columbia River Basin. We need to seal off the Schwarzman mine so the radioactive mine which runs down into the Grand Lake Reservoir system is not slowly feeding the people of Denver, Colorado, and surrounding areas like Broomfield, etc., with radioactive water. It is not acceptable. And I'll tell you what happened is after we brought people up there out the Schwarzman mine, and after we did some tests with NOVA, which is a environmental company, my boss was Reserve Admiral John Hughes, as environmental director, one of the, grandfathered in occupational guys. He had all kinds of contracts with the government. They freaked out when all the guys that went on there, I had to do all their exit exams because John was away. And the guys weren't on hazmat suits for radiation. The radiation level when they did groundwater and other sampling was 10,000 times more radioactive, and they were letting people hike around the area without proper even fencing up. It's just beyond stupid. And the public's completely unaware because they can't see it and they think everything's fine. These workers went out there because they gave them a contract to say, you go out there and do sampling to check the clay in the water and see where it's in the granite under base and see where the water is heading toward the North Platte River. And when we get the results back, I saw some very freaked out environmental scientists who went out there and said, I should have been wearing a rad suit. I mean, that's, this is crazy. So, we don't want to have America, not the beautiful, but the America the radioactive, the America the dead,
Well, we are seeing more birth defects, and there is an increase in miscarriages. And now, did you see the last report on cancer in younger women? There's a aggressive type of cancer that's attacking women in their 30s and 40s.
Is it breast cancer? What kind of cancer? What kind of cancer is it? Yeah, it's a breast cancer, and they have no explanation for this. Well, I'll give you a couple possibilities. The first is cesium-137. They did the hamster studies years ago, and guess what? Cesium-137 goes directly, like a laser, directly to the breast tissue. If you want to cause breast cancer in small mammals and in humans, give them cesium-137 and it goes directly to the breast because it's an analog of calcium, which the breast concentrate, and it's a genotoxin and causes genetic malformation of millions of cells in parallel.
You've heard about or even used colloidal silver, providing the world with hard-hitting talk radio. GCN. Great talk radio starts here.
Welcome back, and you just have an emergency report that just came out here on a volcano in Peru. Talk about this for a minute, because it tells us that we're not isolated. It's a small Earth, space weather, and we have three major comets that are going to be coming and crossing to the inner heliosphere. The one in October is close to 700,000 miles over the surface of the sun to the inner heliosphere. We're going to have superstorms in the sun, if any of them are pointed at us. But this volcano, just like Mount St. Helens, and people don't know the explosive force, Mount St. Helens was more explosive power than all the nuclear weapons ever developed in history in every country. That's how powerful it was. And the explosion down here that happened back in, I think he said 1990, of this Sabacayo volcano in Peru, this is now getting very active again on February 27th. Tell us the update on this, because these volcanoes and earthquakes and so on are getting very active. You got a new report on new tectonic plates as well that are developing. The Earth is in what are called convulsions. It's literally the birth pangs of Mother Earth ready to go through some birthing here shortly.
Yeah, and we can also talk about the magnetic pole, the North Magnetic Pole, which is running into Siberia from Alaska. Yeah. Okay, right. This volcano has just become active this last week, and the last time it was active, it was on May 28th, 1990. So you're talking 13 years. 13 years ago. 23 years. And it erupted with a VEI. Now that's a volcanic explosive index of 3, and that is serious. You think that would cause a volcanic winter?
Yes. Volcanic winter. After Mount St. Helens, 2 or 3 years were cooler than usual, then it popped up again. But yeah, it can cause a volcanic winter. It does several other things. Firstly, it changes weather patterns so that the weather is different. You get fluctuations, and if rain doesn't occur in growing areas of food, then it also can cause floods in some areas and droughts in others because it moves the weather patterns in the jet stream.
And this is just at the equator, so it's not, it could affect the northern hemisphere as well as the southern hemisphere. 8,000 people could be affected by pyroclastic flows, and we've talked about pyroclastic flows before. If you watch the DVD Super Volcano, it just comes alive for you that you can't outrun a pyroclastic flow, and it's very hot and it kills you. It just burns your lungs.
It burns your lungs and peels your skin like a banana.
And then it's also putting out poisonous volcanic organic gases, and that's called fog, and they do track those. And
by the way, the largest fog generating volcano on Earth is, guess where? The Big Island of Hawaii. And if you actually look at the poison index in terms of sulfur dioxide, the highest concentration of any city on Earth is, guess where? The Big Island of Hawaii, bigger than any other city, including the major super cities of 25 million. The largest VOG index is on the Big Island of Hawaii because of the Kilauea volcano. That volcano is so active and so much sulfur dioxide coming out, the VOG index is off the roof. It's ridiculous.
Now, they're also showing a hot spot at the Popocatépetl volcano, which is just south of Mexico City, southeast of Mexico City, and it's emitting a sulfur dioxide plume.
Now, you had to know some more about that, Alexander, so pop in and tell us what's happening at Popocatépetl, because some real bad things happened in the past.
Well, Popocatépetl is active because, if you go into the spiritual aspect, these volcanoes have demonic activity around them and inside them, but that laid aside.
You're talking about the transdimensional aspect of the... You're talking about the transdimensional aspect of the space there, because people don't realize the best way to think of reality is it's layers of physical reality laid on spiritual reality, and so it's a multi-layered, polydimensional reality. And
precisely.
So we're referring,
But I do recommend that if you go to alexanderbachman.com, on the main page you'll see a download section that I'm starting, and you'll see there a series of PDF files that everybody should be interested in reading and downloading and taking a read of them. It's about volcanic activity around the world and the coming out of terrible things that are envisioned in the book of Revelations chapter 9. These locusts that come from under the earth, the Nephilim returning, the giants awakening, and all that stuff. So this is probably connected. Now, Popocatépetl, or the Popo as they call it, is a very active volcano, but it's connected to the Iztaccíhuatl, which is the sleeping lady, they call it, right beside it. Now, this is exactly at 19.47 degrees on the planet. So it's exactly the meridian of we would say, at the same level as the pyramids in Cydonia, if we follow the hyperdimensional and toroidal physics aspect of all this flux of energy flowing through all the planets exactly at those meridians, either in the northern hemisphere or southern hemisphere, like the big giant spot on Jupiter. All this is tied in and interconnected with a flux of energy that probably comes directly from the sun and probably from other suns and probably eventually from the center of the galaxy. But what we do
actually,
know...
let me fill in something there. What people need to understand, the planets and the stars were created because the torsion field, which is the fifth dimensional field, existed before the mass agglomerated to form planets and stars. It didn't just appear out of a gas cloud. The Higgs field, which we talk about, is what's called a torsion field. It literally generated the gravitonic force that agglomerated the matter, but in fact the Higgs field existed before the gravity existed. And that means the curved time-space was present because black holes in the center of the galaxy pump that energy and mass through wormholes like a Christmas tree out to white holes, where mass and energy re-emerges as stars and planets.
Now, what we do know about the Popocatépetl is that the Popo is the biggest geomagnetic center right now on planet Earth, all right? So it's very, very important. The location, it has the same location as Kilauea over there in Hawaii. So it's not a coincidence that if you follow that 19.47 latitude all around the world, you'll see, where it intersects, and you'll see all this activity, especially along that region and down towards the equator, bulging of the equator, especially in Indonesia right now with the new tectonic plate forming under the ocean, and Ann can speak about that in a minute. But just to finish my comment, I spoke with Speaking Wind. Speaking Wind was a Lakota Indian. He died. He was killed by the Illuminati in the 90s. But Speaking Wind clearly said that there's a very ancient prophecy that under Mexico City, the valley that holds the city of Mexico City is in reality a supervolcano. And these Popo volcanoes and the Iztaccíhuatl and the transversal volcanic chain is really, in reality, part of a super mega volcanic chain that when it ignites, they know it will ignite another super volcano, which is up in Mount Rainier, and then that would trigger the entire ring of fire. So I think we're in the beginning stages of birth pangs, very strong birth pangs.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's going to blow. There's going to be a moment where we're going to say, okay, it's the end of days. Why? Because all the volcanoes are just erupting all around the world. And this is because, according to some sources, and I tend to subscribe to these ideas, we have an anomalous situation that's affecting our sun and affecting our solar system, and it's going on the increase. We're having more seismic activity than normal. Just the Santa Cruz Islands and the entire region there in the South Pacific right now it's really active, so we have to pay attention to all of that. Yeah,
amazing, isn't it? So the other thing I wanted to mention too is that a lot of times people think that this is otherworldly when they listen to some of the things we talk about. But what they have to understand is we're trying to translate in simple terms, because in a sense it's like taking kindergartners into a PhD physics classroom. It's real, and it's real science, but you have to understand that the regular news isn't going to cover this. The universities are not going to expose you to what's called Tier 1 science or Tier 1 spirituality. And as a result, you're not going to get this in your regular church, university, or newspaper, or whatever. You're going to hear it on this program. You're going to see it on Alexander's website, on Homeland-Defense for You, and the LibertyMan.com, and Clay and Iron.com.